there's an empty seat next to you, please raise your hand so somebody can find a seat quicker. On behalf of the Think Review from the University of Louisville, I would like to welcome you to the poetry performance by Allen Ginsberg. First, I would like to thank our sponsors for making this event possible: the Student Government Association, Barnes & Noble's bookstores, and WLCB. And a huge thanks to John Justice, whose energy, ideas, and workforce organization was crucial to the arrangements made for tonight. Ron Whitehead and I would also like to thank our staff: Mark Foreman, Jennifer Seelbach, Timothy Clark, Steve Oates, Troy Knowles, and Andrew Hinton. Norwegian writer Hugh Thompson once said, "The only thing that matters is faith. It doesn't matter what you believe, it's how much you believe." Ron Whitehead and I believe in the literary renaissance in Louisville with our entire lives. I've lost 15 pounds since February, and if you notice, Ron hasn't gained any weight either. Think Review's mission is to broadcast the talent of local writers and artists to the world, internalizing by internationalizing. Think Review published 38 local writers in the summer '92 issue, and 38 Louisville women in the anthology, The Dark Woods I Crossed. More Louisville writers than has ever been published in a literary journal thus far. We've had hundreds attend and participate in our open mic readings, and hundreds more attend some of the poets we have sponsored. Allen Ginsberg has been my favorite poet since I was 19. His presence in Louisville is symbolic of the excitement that is happening in the Louisville arts community. There's an explosion going on. Tonight I ask you all to get involved. Attend literary events, participate, read local artists, and believe. To quote Frederick Smock, the more writing and publishing that happens around you, the better you become, and the better the atmosphere gets. Now Ron Whitehead will introduce Allen Ginsberg.
Allen Ginsberg was born in Newark, New Jersey in 1926, the son of the well-known lyric poet and teacher Louis Ginsberg. As a student at Columbia in the 40s, he began a close friendship with William Burroughs, Neil Cassidy, Gregory Corso, and Jack Kerouac, and he became associated with the Beat movement and the San Francisco Renaissance in the 50s. After jobs as a laborer, sailor, and market researcher, Ginsberg published his first volume of poetry, Hal and Other Poems, in 1956. Hal overcame censorship trials and became one of the most widely read poems of the century, translated into more than 22 languages from Macedonian to Chinese, a model for younger generations of poets from West and East. William Carlos Williams, Allen Ginsberg's elder and fellow Pattersonian, states of Ginsberg in the introduction to Hal, "Say what you will, he proves to us, in spite of the most debasing experiences that life can offer, the spirit of love that survives to ennoble our lives if we have the wit and the courage and the faith and the art to persist. It is the belief in the art of poetry that has gone hand in hand with this man into his Golgotha. We are blind and live our blind lives in blindness. Poets are damned, but they are not blind. They see with the eyes of angels. This poet sees through and all around the horrors he partakes of and the very intimate details of his poem. He avoids nothing but experiences to the hilt. Crowned Prague, made king in 1965, then expelled by Czech police and simultaneously placed on the FBI's dangerous security list, Ginsberg has in recent years traveled to and taught in the People's Republic of China, the Soviet Union, Scandinavia, and Eastern Europe, receiving Yugoslavia's Struga Poetry Festival Golden Wreath in 1986. A member of the American Institute of Arts and Letters and co-founder of the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics at the Naropa Institute, the first accredited Buddhist college in the Western world, Ginsberg lives on New York's Lower East Side. His numerous publications include collected poems 1947 to 1980, White Shroud Poems 1980 to 85, The Fall of America, Poems of These States, Planet News, Reality Sandwiches, Empty Mirror, How and Other Poems, Allen Ginsberg Photographs, and many, many more. He has worked with Bob Dylan, The Clash, and Sonic Youth. His own records include The Lion, For Real, Made in Texas, Bird Brain, First Blues, Hobo Blues Band, and many others, plus an upcoming 4-CD set from Rhino Records. Ginsberg's opera with Philip Glass, titled Hydrogen Jukebox, is touring the U.S. and Europe. Films include Growing Up in America, Beat Generation, What Happened to Kerouac, Burroughs, the movie, Ronaldo and Clara, Don't Look Back, and Poetry in Motion. To quote Barry Miles, author of Ginsberg, a biography published in 1989, the one continuous thread throughout his life has been to fulfill the vow he made as a teenager, to devote his life to helping humankind. He became the poet advocate of the underdog, and this has always been his greatest theme. It was not an easy ride. Ginsberg's sincerity has been doubted, his methods have often been criticized, his poetry has been ridiculed. Despite that, he has become the most famous living poet on earth, one of America's best-known cultural ambassadors, his poetry translated into virtually every language from Chinese to Serbo-Croatian. Bob Dylan says, Ginsberg is both tragic and dynamic, a lyrical genius, con man extraordinaire, and probably the single greatest influence on American poetical voice since Whitman. On behalf of Think and Review, please welcome Allen Ginsberg.
Bush was director of the CIA. They put in the Shah and his police, the Seelbach. They sucked up his oil but got Ayatollah's dreck. So 30 years later we had an army rack. Though he used poison gas, Saddam was still our man. But to aid the countries had to also arm Iran. Mesopotamia would do just fine till the Ottoman Empire blew up on a mine. They had apple orchards in Eden and Ur till the snake advised George Bush, this land is yours. The garden fell up, brimstone came down. In the good old days we had plenty ozone. The British and Americans and Frenchmen all took concessions in the garden, so the garden took a fall. Got addicted to emirs and their police state fools, police state sheiks and intelligence schools. Got addicted to emirs and their fossil fuels, police state sheiks and intelligence schools. The Saudi desert bloomed with oil pipelines to push the auto industry. It's yours and it's mine. LA and Osaka gotta have it on gas. In a bulletproof caddy you can really move your ass. LA and Osaka gotta have it on gas. In a bulletproof caddy you can really move your ass. From a Mickey Mouse war on cocaine and crack, we dropped 1 million bombs on the kids in Iraq. How many we killed, nobody wants to tell. It'd give a lousy picture of a war they gotta sell. When they wave a yellow ribbon and an oily flag, just say yes or they'll call you a fag. When they wave a yellow ribbon and an oily flag, just say yes or they'll call you a fag. swapped. Let's help us sell millions. Sell our cloth and nails and make a couple million. Big bucks, 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 big $9 million a year, a southern industry by Senator Jesse Fear, who votes tobacco subsidy and sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. weary-eyed and hungover like old bums on a riverbank, tired and whiny. Look at the sunflower, he said. There was a dead gray shadow against the sky, big as a man, sitting dry on top of a pile of ancient sawdust. I rushed up enchanted. It was my first sunflower. Memories of Blake, my visions, Harlem and the hills of the eastern rivers, bridges clanking Joe's greasy sandwiches, dead baby carriages, black treadless tires forgotten and unretreaded, the poem of the riverbank, condoms and pots, steel knives, nothing stainless, only the dank muck and the razor-sharp artifacts passing into the past, and the gray sunflower poised against the sunset, crackly, bleak and dusty with the smut and smog and smoke of olden locomotives in its eye, corolla of bleary spikes that pushed down and broken like a battered crown, seeds fallen out of its face, soon to be toothless mouth of sunny air, sun rays obliterated on its hairy head like a tried wire spiderweb, leaves stuck out like arms out of the stem, gestures from the sawdust root, broke pieces of plaster fallen out of the black twigs, a dead fly in its ear, unholy battered old thing, you were my sunflower, oh my soul, I loved you then. The crime was no man's crime, but death and human locomotives. All that dress of dust, that veil of darkened railroad skin, that smog of cheek, that eye of black misery, that sooty hand or phallus or protuberance of artificial, worse than dirt, industrial, modern, all that civilization spotting your crazy golden crown, and those blear thoughts of death and dusty, loveless eyes and ends and withered roots below, in the home pile of sand and sawdust, rubber dollar bills, skin of machinery, the guts and innards of the weeping, coughing car, the empty, lonely tin cans with their rusty tongues alike. What more can I name? The smoked ashes of some cock's cigar, the cunts of wheelbarrows and the milky breaths of cars, worn out asses out of chairs and sphincters of dynamos. All these entangled in your mummied roots, and they are standing before me in the sunset, all your glory in your form. A perfect beauty of a sunflower, a perfect, excellent, lovely sunflower existence. A sweet, natural eye to the new, hip moon, woke up alive and excited, grasping in the sunset shadow, sunrise, golden, monthly breeze. How many flies buzzed round you, innocent of your grime, while you cursed the heavens of the railroad in your flower soul? Poor dead flower, when did you forget you were a flower? When did you look at your skin and decide you're an impotent, dirty old locomotive, the ghost of a locomotive, the specter and shade of a once powerful, mad American locomotive? You were never no locomotive, sunflower. You were a sunflower. And you, locomotive, you're a locomotive. Forget me not. So communists have nothing to offer but fat cheeks and eyeglasses and lying policemen. And the capitalists proffer napalm, money in green suitcases to the naked. And the communists create heavy industry, but the heart is also heavy. And the beautiful engineers are all dead. The secret technicians conspire for their own glamour in the future, But now drink vodka and lament to the security forces. And the capitalists drink gin and whiskey on airplanes, but let Indian brown millions starve. And when communist and capitalist assholes tangle, the just man is arrested or robbed or had his head cut off, but not like Indian Saint Kabir. And the cigarette cough of the just man above the clouds in the bright sunshine is a salute to the health of the blue sky. For I was arrested thrice in Prague. Once for singing drunk on Narrow Street. Once knocked down on the midnight pavement by a mustached agent who screamed out, "Goes around!" Once for losing my notebooks of unusual sex, politics, dream, opinions. And I was sent from Havana by plane by detectives in green uniform. And I was sent from Prague by plane by detectives in Czechoslovakian business suits, like the card players in Cézanne's canvas, or the two strange dolls that entered Joseph K's room at morn, also entered mine, and ate at my table, and examined my scribbles, and followed me night and morn from the houses of lovers to the cafes of Centrum. And I am the King of May, which is the power of sexual youth. And I am the King of May, which is industry of eloquence and action in amour. And I am the King of May, which is the long hair of Adam and the beard of my own body. And I am the King of May, which is proud Mayalis in the Czechoslovakian tongue. And I am the King of May, which is old human poesy, and 100,000 people chose my name. And I am the King of May, and in a few minutes I'll land at London Airport. And I am the King of May naturally, for I am of Slavic parentage and a Buddhist Jew who worships the sacred heart of Christ, the blue body of Krishna, the straight back of Ram, the beads of Shankar, the Nigerian singing, Shivaye, Shivaye, in a manner which I have invented. And the King of May is a Middle European honor, mine in 20th century despite spaceships and the time machine, because I heard the voice of Blake in a vision and repeat that voice. And I am the King of May that sleeps with teenagers laughing. And I am the King of May that I may be expelled from my kingdom with honor as of old, to show the difference between Caesar's kingdom and the kingdom of the May of man. And I am the King of May, no paranoid, for the kingdom of May is too beautiful to last for more than a month. And I am the King of May, returning to see Blake's bones on Bun Hill Fields and walk on Keats's Hampstead Heath. And I am the King of May, in a giant jet plane touching Albion's airfield, trembling in fear as the plane roars to a landing on the gray concrete, shakes and expels air, and rolls slowly to a stop under the clouds, with part of blue heaven still visible. And though I am the King of May, the Marxists have beat me on the street, kept me up all night in police station, followed me through springtime Prague, detained me in secret and deported me from our kingdom by airplane. Thus, I have written this poem on a jet seat in mid-heaven. Same year, December, 6 months later, 1965. I'm reading this because I understand khakis visited years ago. We crossed paths also in San Francisco yesterday. So this is December 65, titled First Party at Ken Kesey's with Hell's Angels. Following the Carlos notion, no ideas but the things. loudspeakers, hi-fi, Rolling Stones, Ray Charles, Beatles, Jumping Joe Jackson, and 20 youths dancing to the vibration through the floor. A little meeting in the bathroom, girls in scarlet tights, one muscular, smooth-skinned man sweating, dancing for hours, beer cans bent, littering the yard, a hanged man, sculpture dangling from a high Greek branch, children sleeping softly in their bedroom bunks, and 4 police cars parked outside the painted gate, red lights revolving in the lane. Pain is gone, tears take Teacher Death, I do thank you for inspiring me to sing this blues. Buddha Death, I wake with you. Dharma Death, your mind is new. Sangha Death, we'll work it through. Suffering is what was born. Ignorance made me forlorn. Tearful truths I cannot scorn. Father breath, once more farewell. Birth you gave was no thing ill. My heart is still as time will tell. Guru Death, your words are true. Teacher Death, I do thank you for inspiring me to sing this blues. Father Breath, once more farewell. Birth you gave was no thing ill. My heart is still as time will tell. Maturity. Young, I drank beer, vomited green bile. Older, drank wine, vomited blood red. Now I vomit air. I spent 1984 in China and traveled for several months. And so after 2 months I was ill, spent several days in bed in Shanghai while teaching at Fudan University. So I had a chance to do some reading, particularly Baji, poetry of Baji. And wrote some paraphrases or imitations of the style of the poets. A couple of short poems in the style of, let's say, modern loose translations of Chinese poetry. The title of Reading Baji 1. I'm a traveler in a strange country, China, and I've been to many cities. Now I'm back in Shanghai, days under warm covers in a room with electric heat, a rare commodity in this country. Hundreds of millions shiver in the north. Students rise at dawn and run around the soccer field. Workmen sing songs in the dark to keep themselves warm while I sleep late, smoke too much, cough, turn over in bed on my right side, pull the heavy quilt over my nose and go back to visit the dead, my father, mother, and immortal friends and dreams. Supper is served me. I can go out and banquet, but prefer this week to stay in my room, recovering a cough. I don't have to sell persimmons on the street curb in Baoting like the lady with the white bandana head. Don't have to push my boat board down a rocky corner of the Yangtze gorges, or pole my way downstream from Yichang through yellow industrial scum, or carry water buckets on a bamboo pole over my shoulder to a cabbage field in Wuji. I'm famous. My poems have done some men good and a few women ill. Perhaps the good outweighs the bad. I'll never know. Still, I feel guilty. I haven't My teachers tried to help me, but I seemed to be lazy and taking advantage of money and clothes my works brought me. Today, I'll stay in bed again and read old Chinese poets. I don't believe in an afterworld of God or even another life separate from this incarnation. Still, I worry I'll be punished for my carelessness after I'm dead. My poems scattered and my name forgotten, and myself born a foolish workman freezing and breaking rocks on the roadside in the bay. China Heights. I sat up in bed and pondered what I learned while I lay sick for almost a month. That monks who could convert waste to treasure were no longer to be found among the millions in the province of Hebei. That the secret of the golden lotus has been replaced by the literature of the scar, nor has hardly anybody heard of the ancient meditation cushion of the flesh text. That smoking Chinese or American cigarettes make me cough. Old men had got white hair and bald before my beard showed signs of its 58 snows. That of the three gorges on the Yangtze, the last one downstream is a hairpin turn between 1,000-foot-high rock mountain gates. I learned that Mao Zedong's great leap forward caused millions of families to starve. That the anti-rightist campaign against bourgeois stinkers sent revolutionary poets to shovel shit in Xinjiang province a decade before the Cultural Revolution drove countless millions of readers with eyeglasses to cold huts and starvation in the countryside northwest. That sensitive poetry girls in Shanghai dream of aged stars from Los Angeles movies. That down the alleyway from the stone bridge where Zhang Ji and Suchao spent a sleepless night wakened by the bell of Cold Mountain Temple, water lapping against his boat 1,000 years ago. Now a tea house stands with two-string violin and flutes and wooden stage. That the gold in the sun setting at West Lake Hangzhou is manufactured from soft black coal. That roast, red-skinned, juicy, and tired dogs with eyes bulging from their foreheads hang in the market at Canton. That soul chant meditations frowned on and martial health qigongs approved by Marxist theoreticians. That men in deep blue suits might be kind enough to file a report to your unit on gossip they might have like their secret clubs. That Hangyu song was heard when workmen labor yodeling on bamboo scaffolds over the street outside all night. That most people here have thought, we're just little men, what can we count since the time of Shishiwan? Though the body's heavy weights sustained on our impalpable breath, materialists argue that means of production cause history. Once in power, materialists argue what the right material is, quarrel with each other, jail each other, and exile tens of millions of people with 10,000 thoughts apiece. They're worse than the Taoists who quibbled about immortality. Their saving grace this year is that all peasants are fed. Last, transformation of Baji's night in Xinjiang. Baji was a great poet, also a bureaucrat, went around 20 years as a governor for the emperor. Then at the end of his term, he returned to his hometown and found everything changed. Neighbors and family gone, and self-solitary on earth. Transformation of Baji's night in Xinjiang. I grew up in Patterson, New Jersey, and was just a virgin old kid when I left 40 years ago. Now I'm around the world, but I did go back recently to visit my stepmother. Then I was 16 years old. Now I'm 58. All the fears I had in those days. I can still see myself daydreaming, reading the New York Times, cutting out clippings on Hitler and the Chinese road on the living room floor of Grand Avenue. My childhood houses are torn down. None of my whole family lives here anymore. Mother under the ground in Long Island. Father underground near the border of New York, where he was born. A highway cut through the Fair Street block where I remember our earliest apartment and a little girl's first kiss. New buildings rise on that street. Only the old stores along, all the old stores along Broadway now disappeared. Only the Great Falls and the Passaic River flow noisy and mist, then quietly along brick factory sides as they did before. dressed up as beauty. No need to distort what's not standard to be understandable. Pick your nose, eyes, ears, tongue, sex, and brain to show the populace. Take your chances on your accuracy. Listen to yourself, talk to yourself, and others will also gladly relieve of the burden their own fault and grief. What began as desire will end wiser. Sickness blues. Lord, Lord, I got the sickness blues. I must have done something wrong. Lord, Lord, I got the sickness blues. I must have done something wrong. There ain't no Lord to call on. Now my youth is gone. Sickness blues. Don't want to screw no more. Yeah, sickness blues. those pretty boys, hungry ghosts chasing me, 'cause I've been chasing joys. Lying here in bed alone, playing with my toys, sick and angry, lying in my hospital bed. Doctor, doctor, bring morphine before I'm totally dead. Sick and angry at the national universe, oh, my aching head. Someday I'm gonna get out of here, go somewhere alone. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this town with noise and rattling bone. I got the sickness blues. You'll miss me when I'm gone. Rock and roll. Buddhist, in the sense that we're taking Buddhist refuge vows and Bodhisattva vows and practice meditation. We have a teacher. And it's interesting to put the practice of meditation to song, to say give meditation instructions which are accurate and traditional or classical in the form of a song, rock and roll song. So it's called Do the Meditation Rock. If you're relatively familiar too. Bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 bum. If you want to learn how to meditate, I'll tell you how, 'cause it's never too late. I'll tell you now, 'cause I can't wait. It's just that great that it's never too late. If you are an old fraud like me, or a llama who lives in eternity, the first thing you do when you meditate is keep your spine, your backbone straight. Sit yourself down on a pillow on the ground, or sit in a chair if the ground isn't there. Ground isn't there, if the ground isn't there. Sit where you are if the ground isn't there. Do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation. Learn a little patience and generosity. I fought the Dharma and the Dharma won. I fought the Dharma and the Dharma won. Follow your breath out, open your eyes. Sit there steady and sit there wise. Follow your breath right out of your nose. Follow it out as far as it goes. Follow your breath, but don't hang on to the thought of your death in old Saigon. Follow your breath until it comes by. Whatever you think, it's a big surprise. It's a big surprise. It's a big surprise. Whatever you think, it's a big surprise. Do the meditation. Do the meditation. Do the meditation. Do the meditation. Learn a little patience and generosity. 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 Yeah, generosity. All you got to do is to imitate. You're sitting meditating and you're never too late. When thoughts catch up, but your breath goes on. Forget what you thought about. I'm going on. Laurel Hardy, I'm going on. Charlie Chaplin, I'm going on. You don't have to drop your nuclear bomb. If you see a vision come, say hello, goodbye. Lay it down with an empty eye. If you want a Holocaust, you can recall your mind. It just went past with the western wind. Do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation. Learn a little patience and generosity. If you see apocalypse in a long red car or a flying saucer, sit where you are. Feel a little bliss, don't worry about that. Give your wife a kiss when your tire goes flat. Tire goes flat when your tire goes flat. Keep your heart on under your hat. If you can't think straight and you don't know who to call, it's never too late to do nothing at all. Do nothing at all. Nothing at all, no. It's never too late to do nothing at all. Do the meditation. Do the meditation. Do the meditation. Follow your breath till your body and your mind get together for a rest. Get together for a rest.
Check, check.
Die when you die, die when you die. I'm a pretty rose tree, and I passed the sweet flower o'er. Then I went to my pretty rose tree, to tend her by day and by night. But my rose turned away with jealousy, and her thorns were my only delight. And her thorns were my only delight. A flower was offered to me, such a flower as May never bore. But I said, I'm a pretty rose tree, and I passed the sweet flower o'er. Then I went to my pretty rose tree, to tend her by day and by night. But my rose turned away with jealousy, and her thorns were my only delight. And her thorns were my only delight. Stand up against governments, against God. Stay irresponsible. Say only what we know and imagine. Absolutes are coercion. Change is absolute. Ordinary mind includes eternal perceptions. Now, observe what's vivid. Notice what you notice. Catch inside skull, vast as outside skull. Mind is outer space. Each on his bed spoke to himself alone, making no sound, said poet Charles Sylvester. First thoughts, best thoughts, said Chogya Trungpa Vidyadhara. Mind is shapely, art is shapely. Maximum information, minimum number of syllables. Syntax condensed, sound is solid. Intense fragments of spoken idiom best. Consonants around vowels making sense. Savor vowels, appreciate consonants. Subject is known by what she sees. Others can measure their vision by what we see. Candor ends paranoia. In high school, when you crack your front tooth bending down too fast over the porcelain water fountain, or raise the tuna sandwich to your open mouth and a cockroach tickles your mouth, or step off the kitchen cabinet ladder on the ball of your foot, hear the piercing meow of a soft kitten, or sit on a rattling subway next to women scratching sores on her legs, thick pus on her fingers, or put your tongue to a winter-frozen porch door, or there a fragment white flesh sticks to the wooden frame, or pinch your little baby boy's fat neck skin in the last teeth of his snowsuit zipper, or when you cross Route 85 with double yellow lines painted over a dead possum, or tip your stale party Budweiser on the windowsill tip to your lips and taste Marlboro butts floating down. Or fighting on the second flight of the tenement, push your younger sister down the marble stairs, she bites her tongue and they have to sew it back in the hospital. Or at Icebox, grabbing the half-eaten Nestle's Crunch, a sliver of foil sparks on her back molar's silver filling. Or playing dare in high school, you fall, legs split on opposite sides of a high iron spiked fence. Or kicked in the karate dojo, hear a sound like a cracked twig that feel a slow, dull throb in your left forearm. Or tripping on the sidewalk, fall and rip last week's scab off your left knee. You might grimace, a sharp breath from the solar plexus, a chill spreading from shoulder blades to the young arms. Or you may wince, a tingling to the sphincter and scrotum, a supple electric discharge. Proclamation. I am King of the universe. I am the Messiah with a new dispensation. Excuse me, I stepped on a nail. Mistake. Perhaps I'm not the capitalist of heaven. Perhaps I'm a gatekeeper snoring beside the pearl columns. No, this isn't true. I really am God himself. Not at all human. Don't associate me with that crowd. In any case, you can believe every word I say. To take up a butt to others when we went to St. Mark's Bath that year. I followed you still around Chelsea Hotel, kissing your boots, and still lust for your body, though now you've grown a red beard. At 30, still cute, you lost interest in my pot belly years ago. Useless to jack off to your youthful shadow anymore. And I, your genius poet, first love, ignored, halfway bald, hypoglycemic. Reading this book gives youth back to me again, not old and vain. At last, you bring love to Catullus and poetry, humble enough to print out these translations by yourself. In April 1990, invited by the Mayor of Prague, I flew back to Prague to reclaim my throne. It was announced by the Mayor of Prague, who was a photographer, ethologist, and the translator of Gary Snyder as the longest lasting greatest king of May, since there hadn't been another election for May king until 1990, 25 years later. So I was still formally the title holder. So this is a poem written on which the plane landing on April 25th, just 25 years exactly after I had first landed in Prague for the May King ceremony, and 25 years to the day when I was put on the FBI major security list. Return of proud my house. This silver anniversary, much hair's gone from my head. I am the King of May, and though I am the King of May, now my howls and proclamations are banned on America's electric airwaves. So, the King of May, I return through heaven, flying to reclaim my paper crown. And I am the King of May, with high blood pressure, diabetes, gout, Bell's palsy, kidney stone, and calm eyeglasses. And wear the foolish crown of no ignorance, no wisdom anymore, no fear, no hope, in a capitalist striped tie and communist dungarees. No laughing matter for the loss of the planet for the next 100 years. And I am the King of May, returned with a diamond big as the universe, an empty mind. And I am the King of May, still lack love goes around in springtime with a feeble practice of meditation. And I am the King of May, distinguished professor of English at Brooklyn College, singing, all gone, all over gone, now all gone, sky high, old, mind, soul, ah. Junkies steal your heart. They steal your credibility gap all the time over the radio and on television. Cokes and black men steal your comfort, your peace of mind, walking the avenue away with hands on your back of your shirts. They steal your spirit. You gotta worry. Puerto Ricans steal your white skin from your face. Wasps steal your planet for junk bombs. Jews steal your noble daddy and leave their dirty God in your bed. Arabs steal your pecker and you steal their oil. Everybody's stealing from everyone else. Lives, death. They steal your money, steal your sleep at 6 a.m., the garbage trucks, the boom boxes, the sirens, the loud arguments, the hydrogen bombs, steal your universe. Next is a series of American sentences. There are 17 syllables, and they're simple declarative sentences in one line. Unbroken up. And it begins with an epigraph heard by W.C. Handy in 1893 in the railroad station at Tutwiler, Mississippi, where the southern railroad crosses the Yazoo the southern crosses the Yellow Dog. The verse was the first earliest recorded blues verse. It's also oddly 17 syllables. I walked all the way from St. Louis, they got a time to die. An old ragged neighbor singing that one line all night. So these are a series of one-line sentences. And I'll read each one twice, so it goes past too fast to get taking a chance to grab the last name. Stood on the porch in underwear shorts, watching auto lights and warm rain. Stood on the porch in underwear shorts, watching auto lights and warm rain. Put on my shirt and took it off in the sun, walking the path to lunch. Put on my shirt and took it off in the sun, walking the path to lunch. A dandelion seed floats above the marsh grass with the mosquitoes. A dandelion seed floats above the marsh grass with the mosquitoes. At 4 a.m., the two middle-aged men sleeping together hold hands. At 4 a.m., two middle-aged men sleeping together hold hands. In the half-light of dawn, a few birds warble under the leaves. In the half-light of dawn, a few birds warble under the leaves. Caught shoplifting, ran out of the department store at sunrise and woke up. Caught shoplifting, ran out of the department store at sunrise and woke up. Tompkins Square, Lower East Side, New York. 4 skinheads stand in the street light rain, chatting under an umbrella. 4 skinheads stand in the street light rain, chatting under an umbrella. Next day, science fiction haiku. Bearded robots drink from uranium coffee cups on Saturn's ring. Bearded robots drink from uranium coffee cups on Saturn's ring. Next has a long title. Give you the footnotes first. Didima is the place where the ancient Pythian oracle gave prophecy for the Roman Empire until that land of Malgramator, Turkey, the land of the goddess. The total goddess was driven out of that land, and the Judeo-Islamic, Judeo-Christian Islamic monotheistic noble daddy was exploded because of the general feminine nature. So the title is called On Hearing the Muezzin, mantra-like line. All the hills echo, or the same as the rhyme, all the hills echo it. So I'll sing the 3 verses and then repeat the last verse, and if you please join along. If you don't know how to sing off key, that'll sound better, more harmonic in honor of the Lord John Cage. You guys sing on the side, we will vary it. The Nurse's Song, from Songs of Innocence by William Blake. night arrives. Come, come, leave off play, let us away, till the morning appears in the sky. No, no, let us play, for it is yet day, and we cannot go to sleep. Besides in the sky, the little birds fly, and the hills are all covered with sheep. Well, go and play till the light fades away, and then go home to bed. The little ones leaped and shouted and laughed, and all the hills echoed, 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 you sing too, and all the hills echoed, you sing too, and all the hills echoed, and all the hills echoed, sing along, and all the hills echoed, 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 sing louder, and all the hills echoed, and all